Can you share with us what significance of Juju-ku?
Okay, Juju is 1010. Kushu is war. So it was October 10th. I believe first came in, must be in 44. Because war ended by the 45, so 44. So October 10th apparently is the first bombing of island. So that's called as Juju Kushu. And then from there, it had some time in between, and then the actual landing, I think, came May or June, 2 months, end of April, May, month. I need to study more history.
Did this Kushu, this air raid affect your family in Naha?
I don't know if, I believe that was the time, yes. I think Naha was mostly flattened because they did the Naha, they came from the south, Naha to Shuri area. So, but yeah, I don't know how much of, because yeah, I don't know. At that time, maybe not, because 1941, 43, 44. No, yeah, that was a time that's because my sister was 3 when she was escaping, she said. So, yeah, she said she remembers that, you know, just trying to escape from because everybody had to walk wherever they had to go. So she said she remembers, so gotta be that.
Now, you were just a baby at this time. Did your mother ever or your family ever talk about how they were worried that you might cry and then alert the American soldiers while you were escaping?
Yes. See, during the escape, we had to hide in tomb or cave. And yeah, definitely they were very worried that any babies crying to, and this is of course after the land invasion. So, but apparently I probably didn't have any energy to cry, but they said, yeah, I didn't cry. But, you know, some babies that cry, I don't know if they've seen actual thing, but then they were being forced out from the cave to save the other people, or some, I mean, they had to kill their own baby because of crying. And, you know, of course, no milk, no nothing to eat, and babies would be crying. So I've heard of a lot of those cases happening.
How did your mother take care of your basic needs, like washing your diapers?
She said she did it all at night. She did it all at night, wherever there's tambo, sugar paddy, or wherever there's water. She said she had to do it at night. And my grandmother would tell her that she'd take me on her back with her, because if she gets killed, that they couldn't raise me. So she said she would be complaining that I had to carry you on my back and go out and, you know, wash all the diapers. So I think that's what everybody was doing. So, but my mother would say, "Oh, you know, walk through all this, and there's dead body there, dead body here," and sometimes mother's dead, the baby's crying, and you know, you just kind of, you don't know what to do with the, they say in square yard, 3 bodies average square yard there. So.
Did your mother have to help the Japanese soldiers at all?
No, but then she said they had to go and do some labor, some sort of labor job. So I don't know exactly, like carrying some stuff. I remember her mentioning, but that part I'm really not sure. Yeah.
And then you mentioned about your sister remembering hiding in the caves.
She remembers, yeah. She said she was only 3, but she remembers, hiding in the cave. And she said the most frightening thing was the fire bazooka that was being shot into the caves. She said till this day that which I never knew until I visited the museum and I saw all these. I said, what's all that thing? Then she recalled that. She said, that was the most frightening thing. But cave is very, very deep, so they would be going, but they can apparently hide farther than actual attack right through it. But of course, there are people that being killed. But tombs, there's the stone walls, doors that you can close. But sometimes if you have it open, my grandfather told me, she said, he was sitting by the entrance. There was a gentleman sitting next to him, and the bullet came and shot him right there. So he said, so-and-so they were just talking. So he said, I've been hit, and just died there. So I think at night I know they closed it, but
Do you know what they were eating to survive?
Everything. Everything. Well, mostly potatoes. Yeah, potatoes and grain and vegetable or whatever they can get. Even immediately after the war, as I can remember, we did eat, a lot of potato and rice, of course, once a year everybody had the thing. But during the war, I'm sure it was, very scarce. So the rice, potato, whatever they can find, and anything that they can find in the field.
Now, your family lost everything in Naha.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they escape to?
Escaped to southern part, Chinen area. My grandfather was from Tamagusuku, which is a little more south. Chinen, Kudeken area is also very south part of the island. But my grandmother's ancestor was from that village, so they had a home there, house there. So that's where we all escaped to. And that house, I guess during the war, they might have had a military, Japanese soldiers might be living in there. But by the time we went there, it was all clear, so we were able to live there. And so our whole family lived with mother's great aunt. Yeah.
Now, towards the end of the war, do you know if your family members were pressured to commit suicide?
No, my grandfather was very, very adamant for everybody to live. So, no, they weren't. I don't think they even thought of it. So, and Okinawan elders, older people, they feel that your life is your fortune. So their motto is Nuchiru Takara, your life is your treasure. So they try to, for everybody to live as much. So it was like I said, the ones that committed suicide were mostly those girls who was just being brainwashed that what their consequences are if they were being captured by U.S. soldiers. So no, not too many people committed suicide. Yeah.
Now, once the war ended, your family might be starving, but how did your family feel about receiving U.S. military rations?
My grandfather was quite upset because he said, you know, I can't eat cheese, I can't eat that or canned food, but yeah, but you know, we all received thankfully, and my grandmother would improvise it so that he can eat, you know, with the miso and shoyu or whatever they had. So it was, yeah, it was okay. And once we started living in the countryside, of course, we raised our own food. So there, we had a big hatake fields, so they had rice and vegetables there, so enough to eat for everybody. Yeah.
Do you know if anybody in your family dealt in the black market?
No, not that I know of. But let's see. It's not a, well, I don't know if you call it black market, but like, you know, if there's like from Hawaii, because we had a family in Hawaii, maybe they might send $10, $20 US dollars, something like that. My grandmother would know where to exchange. You know, if you go to Naha area, and these ladies come to us. So I mean, so I don't know. That's about the thing that I know of. So I don't, and that was to change to Okinawan currency. We had a special. They called it BNB in currency. So, and of course that was changed to US dollar after that, then to yen. But yeah. So other than that, I really don't know anybody that dealt in black market. Yeah.
You started elementary school after the war.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about growing up without a father?
Oh, very normal, because my whole classmate, nobody had fathers, and everybody was being raised by their grandparents or, you know, mother only, and each family had, you know, more than one kid, and so really very, very normal. Some even, when we were in second or third grade, maybe they would lose their mother, you know, the 5 kids just living on their own. So as far as not having father was, nobody felt any strange. We thought it was strange somebody had father, so that was very normal to us.
So a lot of these fathers died during the war.
During the war, yes.
And you had a teacher that never wore a sleeveless shirt?
Yeah, yes. That was my 5th grade teacher, and I know she was, we were her first class after she became teacher. And she never wore short sleeve. She always wore long sleeve, and we never figured that out, or, you know, and I remember my grandmother talking about she got burned, or, you know, had a, and then we were able to see some red marks over here, but that's, yeah. And of course, you know, we never questioned. We didn't think anything was, because in class we would have some students with, I guess now you can say really bad case of eczema, almost to infected, also boils, sores all over the body. You know, there were kids like that around, and you know, we had our lice check, and we were being sprayed with DDT on our hair, and, you know, so those things were all normal to us. Yeah.
Now, with the U.S. occupying Okinawa, which language was used to teach the children?
Oh, it was all Japanese. But I think we were introduced to English alphabet from much we did it from first or second grade, whereas in Japan, I understand was third or junior high or something like that. But we were, but far as education, my understanding is that it was always under Japanese government. So it was the Japanese, and then they enforced us to try to learn proper Japanese without Okinawan accent to Okinawa. So that's when Okinawan using Uchinaguchi was very much prohibited in school. So
did students get in big trouble if they were found speaking Uchinaguchi?
Yeah, they have these plaque. It's a wooden plaque that somebody had written, and then they would pass that, and then you have to carry that. You have to be holding that all day long until you catch somebody using some phrase, and then you got passed on. But it wasn't, educationally you're reprimanded or anything like that. It was just to try to not to speak Uchinaguchi in school.
So this plaque was kind of a kind of, if you're embarrassed if you have it.
Right,
sort of.
right.
Now, after the war, did your mother remember enough English to work with the U.S. military?
No, she never worked with the military. Yeah.
What did she do after the war?
Well, she was teaching school, elementary school. So she became a teacher, and because at that time many teachers were killed with their students too. So those who had, of course, there were, some had went to teaching school, so they had the teaching credential to teach, but not enough teachers. So they had to recruit many who had was educated without actual teaching credential. So my mother was, one of those that were teaching elementary school. So.
And right after the war, what was your Oshiro grandfather doing?
Well, he had lost, school was gone. He didn't have any teaching position, anything. So he was trying to farm, but he wasn't good at it. So he was, as much as my grandmother would force him to go and work in the field, but he didn't. But he did. He read a lot, so whatever he was, because his entire collection of the books were all gone too. So he went through slightly depression period, while, but so he got into studying the religion, different religion. These people, he would call and try to hear their lecture or things like that. So, and at times he thought, oh, maybe he'll try to get into politics, but no, he didn't do that. But eventually he was able to start teaching again. So
now, because Okinawa was, completely devastated from the war, you said you never saw a live animal until you were about 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us some of the first animals you saw and the reaction you had?
I was shocked because I saw a cat that came, and so apparently I ran home and I told my mother, my family, that there was this thing that came with the long that went meow. So and if there was any horse, I wouldn't move from that position. So they had to carry me home, and then they had to go and get whatever they were carrying to thing. So the animal was very rare item that we saw. Fish we saw a lot, but not those live animals.
And then you said your sister went to see these donated pigs from Hawaii being unloaded off the ship. Can you tell us what she told you about these donated pigs?
Yeah, when Pigs from the Sea, that play was being presented here, so she went to see it too. And then she was telling me, she said, yeah, I actually saw them unloading those pigs. And she said she was shocked because those were white pigs. And she said, my gosh, American pigs are white like American people because we have a black pigs. She said she never seen that color or that size. I think it wasn't as that big, but she said it was much bigger than what we had. So she says that was her impression, that she was just shocked to see pigs were same as the people.
So you know, people are donating livestock to Okinawa. Now, did everybody in the village receive pigs?
I think everybody who had Pigsty or Pigpen or whatever, because it's built in stone covered area where you keep the pigs, and because the bigger the house, they would all had the pigsty in the back. And I believe because we had the pigs, so I think those people who had area to keep, I think, got the pigs. And of course, you know, some people took the pigs to breed, and that's how it spread. But and then they would share that with somebody else. But I imagine the people who got it in the beginning are the ones that had the pigsty. They probably got, you know, two, maybe male and female, otherwise it would never. So I think that's because we did have. And of course, you know, if you're maybe once a year, twice a year, they would kill the pig, and whole village would share the whatever. You know, Okinawa is like Chinese. We ate every part of pig, so everybody had, you know, a little bit of everything. And then they would preserve that in big vase with the salt, and you can preserve it for almost a year. So that's how they would eat all year round. Of course, only you get to eat only special celebration, New Year, obon, or wedding, something special. So you get maybe 2 pieces for each.
So it sounds like it was, number one, rare to eat meat.
Yeah, right.
And if you killed the livestock, it was a big deal. You had to share it with everybody.
Yeah. And cows, hardly ever. I think I've only seen, not in our village, but I've heard that, you know, when they kill, yeah, they had to share with probably next village or whoever. And goats were more common. Yeah, goats were more common. Yeah, but again, you know, anything you kill at home, you share it with everybody. So, yeah.
Who did the killing at your house?
Nobody in our family. Somebody would come and do it. And they would do it very early in the morning so nobody would see it, especially the children. Yeah. So by the time, you know, we get up, it's all in pieces, so nobody would really see it. Yeah.
Now, your family had a mango tree, and probably the only mango tree around. Tell us the story.
Well, this is from my grandmother. She said her older sister, who had immigrated, I don't know how she got to Hawaii at that time, but when she visited, she brought mango seed with her, and then planted 2 mango trees in our yard. And my grandmother claims they're the only ones in that place. And whatever that spread in Okinawa, she believes that that's from our tree. I don't know how much is that true. But now Okinawan mangoes are very, I mean, big business, and it's apparently the very it's very expensive and very best. So in Japan, when you receive you know, like summertime, so ochugen, summer gift, it's very precious gift. And my friend in Tokyo, she said, "Oh yeah, they're very sweet. It's not that big, but it's very sweet and very expensive." Because she said she gave one to her friend, and her friend told her husband when she was going business trip to make sure that you bring mango home. Husband said, "They're so expensive that I couldn't bring home," or something like that. So